My name is Dan Schneckenberger. I'm the Business Development Director for CareerSource Tampa Bay. And this is the first of a series of instructional topics and videos for job seekers that we're partnering with Recruiters Networking Group, a very knowledgeable group in the Tampa Bay region. So the first one we're going to do today is building a LinkedIn profile and using social media in your job search. So thank you both, Amber and Suzanne. And what we have here is Amber is the talent acquisition specialist for Inside Out Solutions. She has 20 years plus experience in sales management, and coaching. She transitioned to talent in 2019 and heads up the talent team and recruitment strategy. And we also have Suzanne Ritchie, who's no stranger to CareerSource Tampa Bay, Computer Coach Training Center. She is the Chief Success Officer, 20 years experience in career coaching, 22 years experience in IT, and a best-selling career success and author. I have seen their presentation for today. You're going to love it. So ladies, thank you for doing this, and I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So we do have a presentation to go with this. If anybody has any questions, you can either feel free to put the questions in the chat as we're going, or you can hold your questions to the end. We are going to try to have some time at the end to open up for Q&A. But again, on behalf of Amber and I, thank you guys for joining us this morning. We are incredibly honored that you would spend your morning with us. And with that, let's get started. Okay, so can I just get a thumbs up? Can everybody see the presentation? All right, awesome. So, okay, so again, today we're going to talk about LinkedIn, social media, and how you can stand out in particular on LinkedIn. So, well, we just had introductions.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we can skip that part.
Okay.
Yada, yada, we do things. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go ahead and start if that's all right. First off, I do want to echo the thank you. It is an honor to be able to be here and share some of the things that we've been able to learn over the years. And by the way, this is Suzanne's baby. She has put a lot of hard work into this. She's got a lot of data behind it. And everything that she put in it, I know to be true, and also found to be a fantastic reminder for myself. So as we're talking to you about this, we're also learning as well, right? All right, so why is LinkedIn important? It's probably the most important tool that you have outside of course, your resume and your network. Because it is a place where you store your resume, so to speak, and can build a network. Over 95% of recruiters use LinkedIn as a sourcing tool to find candidates. 100% true. We're actually going to cover LinkedIn Recruiter and what it looks like on the backside, so you can see behind the curtain. Over 30 million companies have profiles. We're going to talk about how important it is to engage with the companies that are on your top target list. So many people who are movers and shakers or key decision makers are active on LinkedIn and positioning themselves as subject matter experts. And when they do, they're also very likely to engage with others so that they can also build their network. So it's a really great reciprocity place. Probably one of the biggest keys, and by the way, we're not going to go through this whole thing. You're going to receive this in an email, both recorded as well as the deck. So you can go through it and really look at those stats and dig deep. But one of the biggest keys is 3 million US jobs posted every month. And one of the cool things is when they post those jobs on LinkedIn, it becomes a very simple apply process for you. A lot of times it's just a matter of uploading your resume or your CV to it, and then you're applied. So it takes a lot less work than going to the website. Let's go ahead and move over to the next one. 130,000 articles posted on LinkedIn too, by the way. That's key. And we're going to talk more about what you can do with that. All right. So your profile strength is definitely your key to success. There are levels of it, starting from beginner all the way to all-star. And there are certain things that you can do to bump yourself up. LinkedIn is really cool because it will actually walk you through it. As you're missing steps when you log in, it will tell you, hey, you haven't added any skills yet. Do you want to go ahead and do that? It will tell you, hey, you haven't connected with very many people yet. One of the things that you can do to progress through those steps is every day find 5 people, 10 people, sometimes even 50 people a day. And that sounds like a lot, but as you are growing your network, you're also growing your opportunity to find the right person at the right time. So sales and job searching are very, very similar. And one of the things that you need to remember is that it is truly a numbers game. That being said, though, I will caution you, walking up to someone in real life at a networking event with your hand out is not a great way to get anybody to want to help you. But walking up with an attitude of, I would like to see how we can connect and how we can be of value to each other, that's a best practice both on LinkedIn and in person. So when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Today. Same thing here. If you haven't already spent some time building your network and building relationships on LinkedIn, do it today. Don't wait. Find one person every day to have a conversation with, and that'll go well. All right. So I think I did skip something though, going from my memory on that list. Oh yeah. The other really big thing is that you do want to put at least 2 job experiences, even if it was volunteer and you haven't been employed yet. Absolutely. You have to have at least 2 experiences to be able to be ranked an all-star. And that's a key point. All right. So yeah, let's do the next one now. Here is behind the curtain. And this is what recruiters see when they're using LinkedIn Recruiter. I don't know about you, but I can't see anything really small. Hey, Suzanne, can you zoom in real quick and maybe show like 3 of the profiles together at one point? And if you think about it, right, every single person has a lot to do every day, and recruiters are no different. So it is important to you to be able to build your profile with this view in mind. If you look, the picture is absolutely the most important thing that we're going to notice there, right? Then, ta-da, profile image, right? So you're going to need to pick an image that looks like you. This is one of those where, we learn from doing, because my picture was about 8 years old and it didn't have any gray hairs in it. By the way, I have a lot of gray hairs now. Use a high resolution image. Make sure your face takes up at least 60%, right? You want to be professional. Think about the job or the company that you are interested in being a part of and present that, right? Everybody's heard the cliche, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Unfortunately, people do make snap impressions based on looks, based on appearance. Maybe it's not even that you have to be pretty, or at least, prettier, but it really is about, did I take the time to present myself in a professional manner? Wear what you would wear to work, and definitely no selfies. It's not a great idea. Now, once you have your job, and if your job is one where it's public facing and you want to be less professional, you can do it. I'll put that caveat in there. But while you're job searching, you definitely want to look like the part. Fake the funk till you have the funk, right? All right. The other one, yeah, soft natural light. Yeah. So let's go through some don'ts. A guy on the top right is automatically where our brains go. And the reason why, for me anyway, is our brains are wired to look for the negative. That's a survive versus thrive mentality, right? Our brain goes, oh, that guy looks angry. I don't want to talk to him, or I want to get away from him. The person on the top left-hand corner, who is it? We don't know. Is it Where's Waldo? Do I have to find time to look for him? Maybe not the best. The fellow in the middle, right? He's got personality. And if I already had my job, and my job was probably something in the graphics design or something in a creative field, that would probably be totally apropos. On a job search, not so much. Now, the guy on the left, a lot of people would say, oh, that's not a bad photo. But if you look at it, look at it closer, he didn't do a very good job photoshopping the other person's shirt or arm out of the photo. And it's obvious the way he's leaning, there was somebody there. So even though it's a great photo, great lighting, great background, great everything, he's dressed well, still not quite there. Avatars. It's an interesting one, right? Because she does look professional. It kind of shows that she is, creative, that she's able to be professional, but it's just not the same as an actual photo. Go ahead. Even if you look like me, put your face up there. You'll get a better response. In fact, folks who have a professional photo up, and it doesn't matter what they look like, even if they look like me, they will get more connection requests. They will get more interaction on their posts, and they will get viewed a lot more when they come up in searches. And the searches is something that is very important in that LinkedIn recruiter section that we're going to go back to in a minute.
Amber, can I come in there for a minute? The reason why
of course
your profile picture is so important and why you don't want to use any of the samples that we have on the screen right now is because you're looking to make that human to human connection. And when the recruiters do their searches and they have recruiter view, which we just saw and we'll see again, you want your picture to stand out because the picture is the first thing that your eye's going to go to on the screen. And in many of these pictures that we're looking at, it looks like the person is hiding, right? So the avatar doesn't show that human connection. The ticker tape parade, we don't know who that is. And as Amber pointed out, this is your first impression. So you do want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. So.
Absolutely, thanks. Yeah, that's the key, right? That human interaction. Your next biggest feature on that LinkedIn recruiter view is going to be your headline. Right, yeah, so let's go back there, right? Your name and then your headline is right there. That is huge when someone is pressed for time. They're looking for a particular skill set or title in there, right? So your headline should be focusing on your key skills, and also keep in mind that job search, the Boolean function, right? So there are going to be certain words that come up or that are used by recruiters for a particular job title. So you've got about 120 characters, well, actually 120 including spaces. So don't write full sentences. Do not, go crazy with, that's not where you talk about the sandwiches that you make that, that are your specialty. You're going to use the special keywords. And then the symbols or the vertical bars are a great way to create that negative space, but not take up too much at the same time. So I love this creative strategist, brand manager, marketing professional, right? So very, very rich in keywords. Also talks about the education that the person has, but does it in a very clean look, right? It says a lot with a little. The technology systems enabler, definitely, right? If you look, it's also got the certifications, ITIL, Security Plus, and then optimizing operations, mentoring teams. Those are things that really look, because skills and capabilities are very, very important, but also so are those soft skills that people don't necessarily talk. So the reason I really like this one is the mentoring teams aspect. Being able to build a team is very important, and being able to mentor the next leaders is something that a lot of people are looking for. So if you've got that skill set, make sure you mention it somewhere.
I'm going to add on to that. Yeah. This is actually really important for job seekers. And this is one of the areas where you can really set yourself apart. And what you want to make sure you're putting in your headline is the targeted job titles or occupations that you're targeting. And when you are job searching, it's really important that you know what you're looking for. For me, it doesn't matter what job people are looking for. I can help them get those jobs. It's when somebody comes to me and says, I don't know what I want to do. That's the really hard part. So if you know what targeted occupation or targeted job title you're looking for, you should have that job title in your headline with some other key phrases. And that's different from anything else you'll probably read as far as how to set up your LinkedIn. A lot of articles that you're going to read about how to set up your LinkedIn are going to say in your headline, put your unique selling proposition. And we'll go live on LinkedIn if we have time, and you'll see mine very much has a unique selling proposition, but that's because I'm not looking for a job. If I was job searching, I would put the job title that I was searching for, because I'm going to go back to Recruiter View for a minute. In Recruiter View, it's a really highly ranked item. So if you have the job title that you're looking for, recruiters, these are all of the search features that they have to pull people up. So putting your job title and some key skills right in your headline will really help you stand out. What you don't want to put is unemployed, seeking new opportunities. Really use that prime real estate with good keywords that represent what you're looking for. And if you're not sure what keywords those are, then start looking at other people's profiles that have the same job title that you're searching for, and just keep looking at other people's profiles until you find something that you're like, oh, you know what? That's exactly what I'm looking for. So we can always use other people's profiles as inspiration for our own. But please, if you take anything away from today's presentation, it's really important that your headline have the job titles that you're searching for, as well as some keywords in it. And don't put unemployed or looking for opportunities. That's, you're not going to come up in that many searches with that.
Absolutely. And we are going to cover that in a little bit too, as well, how you can turn on the open to opportunities feature. So definitely don't take up that prime real estate. It would be like somebody advertising a steak and then talking about how awesome their knives are. Right? Yeah. All right. So, and that is leading into these other ones, right? So turn on the job seeker preference. LinkedIn is great that way. If you don't want to be contacted by recruiters because you are not looking for an opportunity, turn it off. If you do want to be contacted, then please turn it on, because I can't speak for everybody in the talent community, but that's definitely something that I will pay attention to, and I'll be a lot less likely to reach out to if it's turned off. Definitely the relevant industry, right? So think about where you want to be and position yourself to fill their need, as opposed to looking for a job that's just going to pay your bills, right? It's that two-way thing. What can I bring to them that will make their job easier, better, faster, better, you know, that kind of thing. Connect with company employees. This one I don't think gets covered enough. And one of the things, when you look at that LinkedIn recruiter view, a recruiter can see how many people they actually are connected with in that particular company. And one of the interesting things, is that they can also tell is how long you've been following the company. So absolutely, if you've got 5, 10, 15 top targets that you would like to work for, go ahead and follow them now. It's only going to be better for you when you do apply or when you do begin to reach out. Go high with that connection, right? If you have the opportunity to connect with the CEO or the director of the department that you'd like to be in, why wouldn't you connect with them? They're right there. So absolutely do that. And it's going to have the recruiter maybe even stop and pause. And if you can get them to stop and pause 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 seconds longer, and it doesn't sound like much, but when you're talking about viewing hundreds in a few hours, an extra 3 to 9 seconds will make all the difference in the world. So if you can get me to click, very much like if I were a website designer trying to get you to stay on my website, the more clicks I can get, the more successful I am. Same thing here. The more clicks you get them to do, then the more chance you have of that recruiter reaching out to you. Engage with the company brand. It seems common sense, but a lot of people just don't do it. Follow the page, interact on the page, especially if you're going for a marketing or some type of UI or UX type of position. They need to know that you're involved. Set up job alerts. Yeah, that's a fantastic one. And it's really simple to do once you explore LinkedIn. The cool thing is you can't break it. Unfortunately, a lot of people who are my age or a little older have this fear that if we mess around too much, we'll break it. Can't do it. I've tried. Investigate other profiles is definitely what Suzanne touched on before. Who is where you want to be now, and who is where you want to be in 3 to 5 years? What is the delta, right? What is the difference between what they have and what you have on your profile? And can you authentically put that in your profile? Anything else that I missed? I feel like I did miss something, Suzanne.
That's all for here. There's a whole lot more coming. So let's.
Oh yeah. So sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So when a recruiter actually does click on your page, this is what they're going to see. So again, the biggest thing that you see is the name, the picture, obviously, the name and the headline. So I will hand it over to Suzanne.
Yes, and actually one thing that isn't on this picture, you were right, Amber, there is something missing, is the recruiters in your job setting preferences. You can turn on to allow recruiters to see your public profile, and you want to do that. And the reason why you want to do that is because what's not on this page that they do have access to is a button that says, go visit my public profile. And what Amber was talking about is so important. If you can get a recruiter that they see your small little snapshot in the search results when they do their searching for candidates, and then they click on this page, which gives them a snapshot of your profile. And then if you can get them to click on your public profile page, you're keeping them engaged with your profile, which means they're finding more and more things that they think that they like or that they believe you could fit into the company. But most importantly, they're not engaging with other candidates, right? So the more you can keep them engaged on your profile and everything that you're offering, the more time they're spending on you, the more likely they are to reach out to you or call you or engage with you in some type of way. So you were right, Amber, there was something missing. So let's talk about some other things you can do to really stand out on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has a skills section where you can add up to 50 skills. Please add 50 skills. Every one of us on this call has 50 skills that we can add. And the great thing is that LinkedIn, like they use canned skills. So if you just start typing things in, suggestions will pop up. Why this is so important is I'm going to take you back to the search features that the recruiters have access to. And one of them right here is the skills section. I hope everybody can see that. I'm trying to get my annotate on. The skills section. That comes from the skills section in LinkedIn. So if you have 50 skills, you have more opportunities to come up. Now, here's the biggest drawback I see people, or I should say the biggest mistake people make on LinkedIn. We set up our profiles. In the skills section, we tend to have a set it and forget it philosophy when it comes to the skills section. And that's a really big mistake. We need to be updating our skills section with the modern skills that we have. So if you're in job transition, hopefully you're adding on some new skills. Don't forget to add those skills to your skills section. Take out some of the other ones that maybe you're not, maybe you don't want to work with, or maybe, you haven't used that skill in a really long time, and add on the new skills that you have. But also make sure you're adding the skills for the role you want. And that's gonna be a common theme that you're gonna hear Amber and I talk about, is you really need to pick a lane, right? You need to have a targeted occupation. You need to have a targeted industry, and hopefully you have some targeted employers that you're looking for. If you have those 3 items, you can tailor your skills section for the jobs and the roles that you would be doing. A lot of times people will use the skills section of everything that they've done historically and not necessarily what they've done currently or new skills that they've added on. So please go in and update your skills section. Super important, because again, it's all about coming up in that what we call search engine result page, right? When recruiters type in the criteria that they're looking for, you definitely want to make sure that you come up. All right, so Amber talked about what recruiters see in Jobs and Recruiter, which is a completely separate licensed platform that recruiters generally have access to. What you and I generally see as the general public is what we call public LinkedIn. And we're going to talk about your profile page. So there was a button missing on that example where recruiters can go from what they see as your recruiter page to your public page, which is what you and I generally associate with LinkedIn. So let's talk about some key things on your profile page. One, we have the header graphic. The header graphic is a great big billboard for you, and please use it as such. When I come to your profile page, you have a big area right in front of me. It's 1586 by 394 or something like that. I'll look up the exact specifications and drop it in the chat. But you have a big billboard that you can capture my attention and tell me exactly who you are, what you're about. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? And generally people prefer to look at pictures than to read. So use your billboard wisely. When I'm coaching candidates for job searching, I always tell them to find a picture that represents the roles that they're looking for or who they are. So if they're a brand strategist in marketing, or if they're a cloud computing specialist, or if they're an accountant, find an image that represents who you are. So when I come to your public profile page, there's no guessing. So what we're looking at is a snapshot of my profile page, which we'll go live to in just a minute. And you can see when you come to my page right away, you know I'm about training, learning, skills, coaching. You can have a conversation with me for 5 minutes and you'll figure out that I'm super passionate about helping others with their careers, right? So use that screen area to your advantage and tell your story with an image. Now, by default, it's just a blue background, and that's kind of a general tell to recruiters or anyone that you're not really into LinkedIn, you're not really using your profile page, you just kind of left the default. So make sure you absolutely change that and sell yourself with a picture. All right, a custom and personal URL. LinkedIn allows you to personalize your URLs. By default, this is what you'll get. So this is my great friend, Joelle Morales -1ABB67100. That just doesn't look right. And what LinkedIn has given us is a professional place where we can curate our brand and really present what we're about in a professional setting, right? So take advantage of all the great customizations that they've given us to really stand out. So here you can see my URL, which is just Suzanne Ricci. And I chose Suzanne Ricci because my Twitter handle is also @Suzanne Ricci. My Facebook is Suzanne Ricci. So all of my social profiles are working together to build the brand of who is Suzanne Ricci. And you can do that in your settings, which as soon as we go live, I'll show you where to do that. If I forget, somebody put it in the chat to remind me. But the great thing about having a custom and personal URL is it doesn't just have to be your first and last name, okay? It can be whatever you like as long as you have consistency, and that's the important part. On your resume, this looks really good to not have the -1ABB67100. It's also a tell that you're a LinkedIn newbie, not using it at the advanced level and not taking advantage of all the opportunities you have to brand yourself. So again, you don't have to use your first and last name. That was my personal choice. I also use the URL SuzanneRicci.com, so that worked for me. If you want to put, you know, Joelle Morales MBA, that's fine as long as everything is consistent. Another reason why you want to get a custom and personal URL is because on your resume, when you're giving out a printed version of your resume, it just looks nicer and it's easier to not have recruiters make mistakes. If I have to type in 1ABB67100, I could make a typo and I may not get to Joelle. And if it's a common name, if I just put Joelle Morales in LinkedIn, I may get quite a few, right? So this really helps you to stand out and not get lost.
Yeah, as a dyslexic recruiter, definitely keep it short if you can.
That's a great tip, Amber. Thank you. The shorter, the better when it comes to your personalized URL. Where LinkedIn has really given us as job seekers the ability to stand out is by being exciting and being active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a social network, which means LinkedIn loves LinkedIn users. So if you're going to use LinkedIn, it's going to allow you to come up higher in the search results because LinkedIn wants to put people at the top of the search results who are active, who are engaging, who are using the platform. And this is an area where you can really curate your brand and stand out. As job seekers, we have the ability to almost position ourselves in a way where recruiters, hiring managers, decision makers in companies can look at our profile and say, well, why doesn't Suzanne already work here? She knows so much about the whatever industry, right? And you can really use that to your advantage when you're job seeking. So I say be excited and be active. I've created a formula that has worked for years, almost since the beginning of time for LinkedIn users, because believe it or not, most people don't post on LinkedIn. Most users of LinkedIn are using LinkedIn to read what other people are posting. They're not actually creating their own posts. And by creating your own posts, you can really, really, really stand out. So here's my formula. This shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes twice a day. The more you do it and the more frequently you do this, as far as every day, the easier it will get. So I suggest job seekers post custom content twice a day. Post something in your LinkedIn so that you have the opportunity to come up in the news feeds of your connections. And why this is important is because when you post a post into LinkedIn, anyone you're connected to, you have the ability to come up in their newsfeed. And I say the ability because there's a ranking algorithm that goes into the whole back end, which that's a whole different conversation, which I'm happy to talk to you about offline if you are interested in that. But you're not going to come up in, let's say you have 7,000 connections. You're not going to come up in the newsfeed of all 7,000. But the more connections you have, the more news feeds you're going to get shown in at the top, right? So by creating custom content or by posting content about the industry that you want to work in or the job title that you're seeking can really help you stand out as a thought leader, as a subject matter expert, and as someone who really knows what's going on in their industry. I'm really passionate about job seekers needing to read and know what's going on in current events. When you are job seeking, there's quite a few reasons why you should be reading everything you possibly can, but especially staying up to date on current events, because you're going to need to engage with a lot of different people. And you're also going to want to build rapport with those individuals very fast. So if you know what's going on in current events in the local areas on a wider scale, you're going to be able to have conversations with more people, and you're going to be able to build rapport faster and generate true networking connections. So here's the formula. You're gonna post twice a day. So what are you gonna post? Well, you can post custom content, which means something that you created. You can find a news article from a variety of different resources. There's all kinds of hashtag days, which I feel like hashtag days are give me's. If you can't think of anything to post on Monday, then grab a motivational picture, post that in your LinkedIn feed and hashtag it Motivational Monday. There's Wednesday Wisdom. There's Funny Friday. Actually, one of my most engaged posts on LinkedIn was a Funny Friday. And it was something that I just happened to find at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It made me laugh so hard that I said, you know what? I'm going to share this with my network because I guarantee you they're going to laugh too. And it's gotten hundreds of engagements and thousands of views. And it was literally just a funny picture of Bill Gates with some other things in it. So you do have motivational pictures that you can use. Videos from YouTube. If you're a customer service guru and that's your lane and you find a movie and you're like, you know what, this is a great example of awesome customer service that they're demonstrating in the movie, then get to YouTube, find that clip, because you can find almost any clip on YouTube, and post it in your LinkedIn and add a little comment to it. Amber and I had an interview and she brought up a Friends episode on the, I hope I don't mispronounce it. Was it Unagi? Amber, is that right?
Sorry, yep, was on mute. Yeah, Unagi.
Yeah, Unagi. And I found the exact Friends clip and I posted it in LinkedIn and it just gave everybody such a laugh and they were liking it and engaging, and it was really a great little clip. So just something that small. If Amber wouldn't have brought up Unagi from the Friends episode, I would have never even have thought to post that as far as helping job seekers. You can do custom videos, PowerPoint presentations. You can share a post from a colleague. The most important thing is that you're adding content to LinkedIn, but make sure you're strategic. Add content that's going to show and let you shine. So if you're a Scrum Master or an accountant or an operations specialist, add content that's going to be about those topics, so that when recruiters are going to your profile, because I'm going to show you that I can see everything you're posting, you're building your personal brand, so that when you go in and you meet or you interview with somebody like Amber or another talent acquisition professional and you say, well, I'm passionate about customer service, your social brand support and back you up that you truly are passionate about that. Because if you say you're passionate about something, but then your social media represents a completely different image, whoever you interviewed with is going to question, well, are they truly passionate about that or not? So I get asked all the time, great, you want me to say stuff on social media. What am I going to say? So I am one of those people that I actually sign up for newsletters, and I highly recommend that you do too. And the reason why I sign up for newsletters is I consider myself a curator of content for my network. My network relies on me to share information with them because they can't see everything that's out there at all times, right? So I sign up for newsletters, and then I am excited in the morning when I get up and I have my newsletter from Inc., from MSN, from Wired, from CIO, from different industry associations. And then I read the titles, and if it's something that I'm interested in, then I'll read the article further, and then I'll decide if I'm going to share that with my network or not. The reason why you really need to have industries that you're interested in is because then you can sign up for industry associations. Almost all industry associations will allow you to sign up for their newsletters for free because they want to have a big email list, right? And then they'll send you content that you can decide yay or nay to share with your network. So sign up for all different types of newsletters, and I let them come to me. And then as I'm having coffee or if I'm walking first thing in the morning, I scan through them all and decide what's important. I do also use a service called drumup.io. I use the free service for drumup.io. I don't pay for it. And the reason why I use drumup.io, or what it is it's an application that lets you follow hashtags. And what it does is then it will curate different information from the web that represents that hashtag, and then you could decide if that's relevant to share or not. So it's just another easy way for me to get content so that I can share it with my network. And I follow the very broad hashtag, the most broad hashtag that I could find for my industry, which is information technology. And I follow the most broad hashtag because I'm only following one because I'm not paying for DrumUp. I actually have the free subscription. All right, so once we find this awesome content that we're going to share that's going to help us build our brand and really make us stand out on LinkedIn when recruiters are seeing our profile, what are we going to do in the post? Well, one, you should always add a line to your post. So let's say you're not creating custom content, you're just sharing an article. I shared an article this morning from MSN, which I'll show you in just a minute. You always want to add something to it, like one line, and then you want to have a call to action. Comment below. What are your thoughts? Whatever call to action you want to have, but you definitely want to have a call to action. And the reason why is because on LinkedIn, the goal is to stand out. If I can start a conversation with you and I can go back and forth, and we're dialoguing back and forth in the comment section or in a private message or whatever it is, you're going to remember me. And when you remember that Suzanne is whatever expert and that position opens up in their company, you want them to think of you. So let's say I'm a training specialist and I post all kinds of content about training and everything to do with training. And then a position opens up in a company that's a training specialist role. I want that talent acquisition person to say, you know what? Suzanne posts a whole lot of content. She's super engaging. She knows about training. Let me reach out to her. And that's what LinkedIn gives us the ability to do and really set ourselves apart. We don't have that if we're just using job boards like Monster, Career Builder, whatever your job board of choice is, right? So LinkedIn has really done it's amazing for job seekers. So some other things you're going to do in your posts. One, you want to @mention people. It's not on this slide, but that's super important. So the reason why you would @mention people is, let's say I have 7,000 connections and Amber has 5,000 connections. And of those connections, 1,000 of them overlap, right? So we have 1,000 of the same connections. If I make a post and I @mention Amber because it's relevant to Amber, like when I posted the Friends Unagi clip from YouTube, then I now have the ability, because I've mentioned Amber in the post, that my post can come up in the newsfeed of her connections. So I now have the possibility of coming up in the news feeds of 11,000 people. Everybody get that? If I had 7,000, she has 5,000, there's 1,000 overlap. That gives me the ability to have 11,000 eyeballs on my post and really have me stand out. And that's a really great tip for job seekers. Now, you don't want to be @mentioning Oprah just because, you know, she's got 30,000 connections. That would be considered spammy. So make sure you're @mentioning people that are relevant to your post. But @mentioning is one way to get more eyeballs on your post. And the reason why you want to get more eyeballs is I want some of Amber's connections to say, hey, that's an awesome episode of Unagi. Who is that? Let me see who Suzanne is. I want them to click on my profile and then send me a connection request, right? So I want to build my network organically by borrowing some of my friends, colleagues, and other individuals who are relevant to the post. The other thing you can do in your post to really have your post stand out is LinkedIn allows you to hashtag. Now, there's some rules when you're hashtagging, which, why would you hashtag? Because people on LinkedIn follow hashtags. So not only can I follow individuals, but I can also follow hashtags on LinkedIn. And if I post, let's say I post, we'll just use the Unagi Friends episode. Let's say I post, and that's a, if I have relevant hashtags and people that are following those relevant hashtags can now see my post, it's more eyeballs. So now I have everyone in Amber's network with the possibility of seeing my post. I have my network having the possibility of seeing my post. And I have people who follow the hashtag having the possibility of seeing my post. So I am growing my eyeball potential exponentially by using hashtags and @mentioning. So I love point 2 here, which you don't want to hashtag every word. I will tell you, once you get started, that's kind of hard because sometimes there are relevant posts that I could hashtag every word in the post, but that is considered a LinkedIn no-no. So you can incorporate hashtags into your content. You'll see that my hashtags are at the beginning of my content, the middle of my content, and the end of my content, but you don't want to hashtag every word. And then you do want to limit your hashtags to 5 per post. Anything more than that, unless it's super relevant, is considered a little spammy. And you don't want to be spammy because then you won't come up in the search results or in the news feeds. Okay, so something to do every other week or at least monthly is add an article to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has the ability to add articles and it has the ability to do posting. And I'll show you the difference. We're going to go live in just a minute. The reason why you want to add articles is because it really allows you to stand out as a subject matter expert and as a thought leader. And I have some simple samples of articles like 3 tips to fill in the blank, 4 key takeaways from that. Almost anybody can write an article with these different titles. And if you are interested, you can let me know and I'll send that out as well. But one of the things about writing articles is that when recruiters get to your public profile, they can see, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about in the oil and gas industry. You know what? I want to have a further conversation. So articles are a way that you can really set yourself apart outside of posting and from other job seekers. All right, so that is it for the presentation. As far as the content, I do want to go live just to show you a few things, if that's okay with everybody. Here's our contact information. So that is my email, that is Amber's email, my LinkedIn, Amber's LinkedIn, which we dropped into the chat. Please do connect with us. Reach out to us if you have questions. Both Amber and I share a passion for helping others in their job search, so you are welcome to reach out to us. So with that, I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to just show you a few things on LinkedIn.
We do have a couple of questions too that
Okay.
we'd like to cover as well. So while you're doing that,
Okay.
one was the young versus recent photo. I'm 6s and 7s on it. I liked it when I was blonde, but you know, it really was a bit of a shock when people would meet me and I had gray hair because yeah, it's different. So I go for recent, especially if you're job searching. If you walk in and you don't look exactly the same, then it's like, what are you hiding?
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Amber, completely, especially if you're job searching. Like my picture's a little old. I really should update it. If I was job seeking, I would update it because you don't want to have that disconnect. You don't want there to be any awkward, like, when you walk in for an interview or when you're virtual interviewing. So you want everything to be very upfront. So here I am on LinkedIn, and this is where you can create a post, and they have some new cool features in their posting. And this is where you can write an article. So those are the 2 features right there. And then I just want to show you, I am going to go to Amber's profile, because what I do want to show you is that as someone who is, you know, vetting individuals on LinkedIn, I can come and see everything that you're liking, celebrating, posting, the documents, the articles that you've written. And this is really important because I can truly get a perception of who you are as an individual. So like all social media, but especially LinkedIn, if you're job searching, I would stay away from controversial or negative topics, right? I wouldn't be liking posts that say, you know, micromanagers are no good or anything like that, because that, although I agree with you wholeheartedly, you just don't know how that could be taken. And if you're job searching, you don't want to have any red flags. So here I am on Amber's page, and I can see that Amber liked this cybersecurity post. I can see that she liked a comment that Dale posted. So then I can go and see, you know, what did Dale say? Is that in line with our company mission? I can see if Amber's written any articles, which Amber has this article. I can see all of the posts that Amber has posted. I can see exactly how active Amber is on LinkedIn, what she's saying, and I can also see if she's uploaded any documents. So we'll check out, Orlando Haynes does a great job on his LinkedIn as well. So I can see, again, any of his activity. I can see the articles. So I know exactly what he's about, right? And as a job seeker, that's a really powerful tool. I can see the posts here, and I can see any documents. He doesn't have any documents uploaded either. The other tip that I will give you on LinkedIn, as far as you can add media to really stand out. And media will help your profile stand out from others. So this is like you can put PowerPoint presentations here. You can put brochures that you've created. You can put quite a few different areas in the media section to really break up your page and make it shine. So with that,
I've got a couple more questions that were already asked in chat that I'd like to cover, if that's all right. Yeah. All right. So the next one was the commonly used hashtags. Would it be possible, Suzanne, for you to make a list of the common ones that you were saying, the Motivational Monday, Tuesday, whatever? Take no prisoners Tuesday?
When you make a post in LinkedIn, it will give you suggested hashtags based on what it thinks that, so once you start posting quite a bit, it will give you a list of hashtags. I have sometimes searched for like list of popular hashtags on LinkedIn. I've really never been successful with finding, but the days of the week that I think are the most popular are hashtag Motivational Monday, hashtag Wednesday Wisdom, hashtag Funny Friday. Outside of that, you really want your hashtags to represent what you're about. So there's not necessarily a list of the most common hashtags because those may not be the right hashtags for your job search. Could you repeat those? Oh yeah, Motivational Monday, perfect. Tuesday and Thursday got left out because there's Throwback Thursday, but that's like a Facebook thing, right? You wouldn't necessarily want to do something like that unless maybe if it was relevant. Once we're talking about job seeking, right? But you should continue this once you're employed so that you can continue to build your career brand. So if you do want to find employment in the future, you already have built your network and you have this whole brand that you've created. So you could do some Throwback Thursdays for a hashtag, but just make sure it's professional and relevant to what your professional brand is. I don't know any for Tuesday. Amber, do you? I guess Tuesday got left out. Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry, yep. Yeah, I made it up. Take no prisoner Tuesday and thrash 'em Thursday. But, you know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Thankful Tuesday, I think is one as well. Yeah. Then the other question was, do you need to ask permission to @ someone in a post or to tag them?
That's a really great question. And I think it depends on who you're mentioning and if it's relevant. So I don't ask anybody. I mean, I just mentioned Amber because it was a conversation. It was funny, right? I found that clip and I was like, I would have never have thought of that in the conversation that we were discussing. But I would, if it's relevant, and there's a reason why you're mentioning them, I don't really feel like you have to ask permission, but if you're just going to be mentioning people to try to get more eyeballs, that's a very dangerous thing to be doing. Sorry, I can't think of the word, but that's not a good idea.
You can get blacklisted really easy.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
And I can speak to that a little bit too from being in the sales industry, right? Because that was one of the things that we used to do to try and get our posts in front of the relevant decision makers. So it's a fine line. And I will say it's very similar. If there's a reason for it, if they have commented on it, or if you've seen that this is a topic that they're really passionate about, it's a great way to begin a real conversation. If it's just, hey, they're really popular in the industry and I throw this on there, everyone's going to know that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Molly, drop that link to the day hashtags in the chat so that we can all share it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that work. And I love Thankful Tuesday. Adding a relevant podcast in the media section. I do believe you can add podcasts in the media section on Orlando Haynes. The first 2 media sections that he had were podcasts. What I would say to you is make sure your podcast is representative of who you are in your job search. So for example, if you're podcasting the latest makeup tips, which is awesome, but you're not looking to be professionally employed in that, I wouldn't drop that type of podcast in. I would make sure that my LinkedIn was curating my professional brand and what I'm about. I have gotten asked, like, what if I have a side hustle? You know, I'm a photographer on the side. How do I do that? Well, LinkedIn allows you to do business pages. And if I had a side hustle, then I would set my photography up as a business page and my personal LinkedIn would be my professional brand of what I'm searching for in my job search. And the reason why is because business pages don't get as many rankings and they don't come up as frequently as personal pages. So take advantage of your personal page because it is a human-to-human connection network. So make sure you take advantage of your personal pages to really curate your professional brand as far as what you're job seeking for. Any side hustles, set up business pages. And you can link in posts to your business page also. So I run the LinkedIn Local Tampa Bay business page on LinkedIn, as well as the Computer Coach page, and you'll definitely see me referencing those two pages or content that's posted on those pages. Oh, love Sprout Social. I actually use Hootsuite. I do get asked that quite a bit. Do I use a social media tool to help me, keep my posts going? And I do post a lot natively, but I do also use Hootsuite, not for any reason other than I've used Hootsuite for years. Sprout Social is just as good. It doesn't matter which one you use if it helps you and you like it. Did I miss any questions, Amber? Did we?
There was one, Jen had a follow-up question about, can the person who's been tagged actually remove their name from your post? And that's a good question. I don't know the answer.
That is a great question. I have never had that situation. Because like in Facebook, I can say add it to my wall or not, right? I would have to look that up and get back to you because I don't want to give you the wrong information, but I've never, if you're mentioning in a positive way, I've never had that situation. But again, let me do research and get back to you. Hootsuite and Sprout Social are tools that you can use to help automate your social media. So you can set up all your posts on Sunday to go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It just, when you're managing a lot, they just help you automate is what they are. They're automation tools.
Do be careful if you do start using those automation tools, because if you set it too far in advance and something drastic in the world happens and you have a tone deaf post coming up 3 days after, not a good idea. So even though you want to try and set it and forget it as much as possible, do not set it and forget it, because that can be bad. And also to make sure that you're sharing to the appropriate channel. There are a lot of times where, you meant to put that on your personal Twitter, but now it's on your professional Twitter. And now what are you going to do?
Great. What we didn't, so we have like just a couple more minutes. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in. But one of the things we didn't talk about, which is also a great strategy since we have a couple minutes, is groups. So very similar to how Facebook has groups, LinkedIn has groups. And let's say you're a project manager. You can get in project management groups and you can really start learning a lot about your industry, which you can then use in interviews, because you want to read as much as you can to really shine when you're talking to people. That's both when you're networking and when you're interviewing. And the other thing too is groups allow you to connect with like-minded professionals, and you can find out about different companies that are hiring, because people will post, hey, my company's hiring a project manager, because it's only project managers in these particular groups. And they have groups on LinkedIn for almost every topic. So do take advantage of the groups. Oh, the contact slide, sure.
Hey,
Amber,
the
contact slide.
And Amber and Suzanne, we're almost out of time. I just want to take an opportunity to thank you both for this excellent presentation. I even learned a lot. I guess my profile is not anywhere near it where it needs to be with a lot of the tips that you guys put out. I would like to ask everybody on the meeting that we are to join us on Friday at 11 o'clock. We're going to talk about virtual interviewing and virtual communications. Really an important topic for this type of post-COVID-19 world that we're going to live in. All the employers are moving forward with virtual interviewing and using Zoom and other platforms to communicate with job seekers. So that's a great seminar to get some tips on how you can present yourself in the best way moving forward. And even as we continue to open up in the Tampa Bay area, you're still going to see this as almost a routine way that both recruiters and HR professionals are going to want to reach out to you. So LinkedIn is so important right now to really get that profile built up and use these tips that both Suzanne and Amber did. Indira Chambers, are you still on the call? Are you on the meeting, Indira?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about Professional Town in Tampa Bay and put the contact information to reach you both for future seminars and regular meetings of Professional Tampa Bay?
We actually have some PTT members on the session today, but for those of you who don't know about the PTT, it is a group of professional job seekers that meet. We meet on Wednesdays, and currently we are meeting virtually. But you know, as we transition back into the centers, we may have virtual and in-person meetings. So you guys have all communicated with me to be registered for today's session. So please send me an email and we will further the conversation regarding the PTT. So I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Okay, do we have any other questions, either in the chat or even verbal? Tammy, if you want to unmute people, we got a few minutes, and love to keep Amber and Suzanne on here as long as we can.
Sure, we're happy to answer questions. Just one tip too is in the chat next to, on the right-hand side, there's 3 dots, the ellipse. If you click on that and you can choose Save Chat, that will save the information so that you don't have to scurry to write everything down or screenshot or anything. So saving the chat will help you save your fingers.
Also wanted to let you know, Indira will send this PowerPoint presentation to all the participants on the meeting. And the recording of this, we will put on careersourcetampabay.com. That's our website. And so we'll upload that hopefully by the end of the day, so you can also listen to it again for all these great tips that Suzanne and Amber have given us today. All right, I don't see any more questions. So I want to thank everybody again for participating in this first of 4 series. And again, Suzanne and Amber, thank you for kicking it off in such a professional way. And hopefully we'll see you all on Friday morning. All right, take care. Have a good day.
Thanks so much for having us. Really appreciate it. Good luck, everybody.
Bye-bye.